Hello, and welcome to the AccountScout.net training program. Today we'll talk about Session 1, Setup, and this will be Part 1. Our audience is the main AccountScout.net point of contact, as well as someone who understands the billing process, the workflows for your company, and also has the authority to make minor changes if necessary. Also, the bookkeeper. The session outline, we will talk today about sales offices, how to create sales offices, sales reps, roles and user definitions, as well as billing offices, advertiser sets, how to define your publications, and how to create your default classified ad settings. Things that you want to bring to this session include a list of AccountScout users, sales reps, and sales offices. Also, all retail and classified rate cards, your media kit. We won't enter rate cards in this session, but it's handy to have that available. As well as any reports, or the following reports, if you're coming from AccountScout version 5. Report 9.1, the sales rep listing, and Report 13.1, regions. You also need to know the classified font and point size, as well as column width that you might use, or that you do use, for your classifieds. Now let's talk about roles, billing offices, and sales offices. Here are an overview of the steps that are required to customize your AccountScout environment. First thing we'll do is we'll grant permissions for the various roles of users, specify or create the specifications of your billing and sales offices, association of types of advertisers, and define the publications as well as the issue dates and schedules for those publications, and create your sales reps. At the end of each section, there will be steps that will tell you how to perform these data entry customizations. First thing we want to talk about are roles. Each role contains a set of allowed permissions for a given user. Users are assigned to one or more roles, and the permissions then are merged. Some common roles include the administrator, which is a permanent role, and you cannot delete that. You may have a role for your bookkeeper, a sales rep. Management may have their own roles, as well as like classified or retail clerks. Here's an example of a bookkeeper role. You can see all the checked areas are permissions that they have. So bookkeeper has almost all permissions except for a few that are unchecked. And we'll talk about those later. When you define your roles, the following actions can cause serious system problems if they're used improperly. And they should be restricted then, therefore only to the admin user. So we do not want you to grant basically these roles. It's a best practice not to grant these roles to any user. If you need to do these things, then you'll simply log in as the administrator and perform these tasks, usually with the help of fake brain support. Billing offices. An advertiser must be assigned to one billing office. Invoices and statements can be generated by billing office. The billing office logo is displayed as the header or the footer. And there are many accounting reports that can be totaled by billing office. So in this example here, we have an example of the billing office screen. And you can see the various information on the billing office screen, as well as the logo down below that will be used for various reports, possibly statements and invoices. Up above we have a report that just shows account balances, an advertiser's account balance by billing office. So on the side we have all the different billing offices that are defined, and then you can see the account balances over to the right. And in the lower right hand corner we have an example or a snippet of the advertiser screen, and this is simply where you will define the billing office by selecting it from the drop list. In a lot of cases you only have one billing office, but for some more complex billing scenarios there might be several. Here's a sample of an invoice and a statement. And you can see that the letterhead at the top of the invoice and or statement is determined by the billing office. In this case, the ABC Times is the billing office used for this particular advertiser for their statement. Another advertiser belongs to a different billing office, and they get a totally different letterhead or logo. Notice also that the invoice logo or letterhead does not span the entire width of the invoice, unlike the statement that does. So when you create your billing office logos, you can have several different logos. You can have one for invoices, one for statements. You can even put a logo at the footer of your invoices and statements. Logos are resized proportionally, and so we recommend that you use the aspect ratios provided below. So for an invoice, we recommend that it's a 3:1 aspect ratio, which means that the invoice is 3 times wider than it is tall. As an example, it might be 3 inches by 1 inch, or say 300 pixels by 100 pixels. Similarly, statements use a aspect ratio of 5:1. So down below, we can see on the billing office screen, there's an example here of a logo with address, which is used on various reportings, as well as maybe quotes and so forth. To actually load the logo, just simply click the Browse button and select it from Explorer. An important tip, though, is to use as small a file size as possible. If you happen to have a logo that is, say, 1 megabyte in size, if you create a PDF of just 100 invoices, you already have a 100 megabyte PDF just for the logo itself. So you want to keep it small, but you want it to look good when it's printed. Sales offices. Sales reps are assigned to one sales office. It helps us group. A sales office is effectively a group of sales reps. And then we can do reporting based on sales office for things such as revenue. The selling office may get credit for revenue, and it's all based on the selling rep. So in this particular example, we have the Boulder sales office. This is a snippet of the sales office screen, and the name of the sales office is Boulder, and you can see it has 2 sales reps assigned to it. And then over on the right, we have a report that shows sales or revenue by sales office. So for the first set of homework, what you will need to do is create your roles and define all your permissions, create your billing offices, and create your sales offices. These are the steps to define roles. You select the roles from the Define menu and click the New button at the bottom of the screen. You can enter the role's name and a description. The administrator is a permanent role and should only be used when system administration is performed. So that one is defined by default. Other possible roles that you may want to define are bookkeeper, sales rep, management, and say classified ad rep. Then click the boxes associated with the permissions that you'd like to grant the role, and then use the name of the permission to determine its usage for your various role types. Remember to heed the caution and exclude these permissions: the invoice batch delete, statement batch delete, interest batch delete, classified import batch delete, and creating new databases. So now let's do a short demonstration on how to create a role. So this is the Account Scout program has already been launched, and so to define the roles, we simply click on the Define menu and click on Roles. It's the first in the list. In general, when you do your setup work, you'll work your way down this list on the Define menu. So we'll go ahead and select Roles. We have some already defined, but I'll show you what you do if you want to create a new one. Make the screen a little bigger so we can see all the permissions. Just simply click on New. It's already in New mode, but if you're not certain, go ahead and click on New. It won't hurt anything. And we'll create a role, and this time maybe we need a retail or classified ad clerk. Classified ad rep. In the description is generally on all the Define menus is for your use only, but you might want to type what you're thinking at the time when you created the particular item. So this role is used by classified ad reps to define their basic set of permissions. Alright, so now what we can do is there's a couple different options. We can simply select this Check All button, which will select all the roles, and we can uncheck the roles permissions that we do not want them to have. or we can uncheck everything, and then we can select the permissions that we do want them to have. So maybe for classified order rep, we only want them to be able to open the form, create an update, and we want them to be able to update. We do not want them to be able to delete a classified order, nor do we want them to be able to make pricing adjustments. They cannot exceed the credit limit. We will not let them schedule for closed issues, and we will not let them schedule outside the rate card dates. Now, we might want to let them be able to open the advertiser screen, create and update an advertiser, but we do not want them to be able to edit the credit limit, the payment terms, or any other accounting types of things. So we simply select the Save button. And that is how we enter a role. Notice that it's automatically added to the side list. If we'd like to create it or look at a role, we simply select it from the list, and you can see all the permissions. It's loaded automatically, and we can see all the permissions for that particular role. So now let's go back to our slideshow, and we'll move on to steps to define a billing office. Again, select the billing office from the Define menu, and the billing office screen will appear. Click the New button at the bottom of the screen if we're not in New mode. Enter the information for the billing office at the top of the screen. If you have multiple billing office logos available, create your invoice and statement headers and footers by importing the graphics using the Browse button. For text fields, you can select the particular text button and enter all the desired text. And you want to repeat that for each of your billing offices. So from Account Scout, click on the Define menu and select Billing Offices. Now we're in New mode, so we can go ahead and type in all the information about the billing office. But what I want to do in the interest of time is I'm going to go ahead and load one that we already have created. So that's how we would type in street information, finance charge, agreement acceptance terms. And if you ever wonder, you can simply hover over it, a particular item, and display the tooltip as we are doing here. Now we'll go ahead and create or browse for a statement header logo. So I'm going to click on the Browse, have the statement header, highlight it, click on the Browse, and then I'll look for, in my Logos folder, I'm going to go ahead and look for a logo. And it inserts it. And then I click Save. Now here are the steps to define a sales office. Again, from the Define menu, select the Sales Office option. Click the New button if necessary. Enter just a name and a description. And then no sales reps will be assigned to the office. That'll happen in a later step. So we won't go through that. That's pretty straightforward. So this concludes part 1 of our setup video. We'd like you to resume with part 2 of the setup video, where we'll talk more in depth about advertisers, publications, and so forth.